Now that was a nicely struck drive, and I'm going to share with you in today's lesson how you can get a little bit more out of your driver with a thought that I shared with one of my students, John, recently, that changed his mindset and got him delivering that golf club a bit better, a bit more efficiently, and maximising his output. Before we get stuck into the lesson though, guys, if you are new around here, welcome, and why not consider hitting the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any future lessons to help you improve your game. We release videos like this every single week and we want to see you improve. So hit it down there below and let's take a look at what helped John and hopefully can help you. So when we get driver in our hands, it's a club that we want to hit hard. We think, right, this is the biggest club in the bag. It's meant to go the furthest. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to send it down there because if I do, it's a great feeling. But in that thought process, what I see from students, and this is going back years and years and years that I've been coaching, is always that we're going about it in the wrong manner. When we're trying to generate power or even just trying to actually hit a consistently well-struck drive and get the most out of it, not trying to knock the skin off it, we go about it in the wrong manner. Now, if we think about it, hopefully you've seen some other lessons on the channel and you know that you've got a good setup, you know how you want to address the driver. We're going to be hitting it on the up and all the good things that we should be doing with driver. But what I'm going to be talking about in today's lesson is how we transition from that good backswing we create into using the power that we've stored there to actually putting that down into the golf ball. Because when I use this analogy with John and how I sort of gave it a two-step process, and it's literally a two phrases that we were saying throughout the lesson that made me think, right, yeah, I don't do that. And I would imagine when I've used it in further lessons, a lot of people were, yeah, that's not me either. So I want to share that with you. And what I would say is that, like I say, a lot of people go about trying to get this strike and get this power into the back of the golf ball in the wrong manner. We've got up to the top of the golf swing, we've done everything correctly here. And from there, and what will be some telltale signs if this is you, is that number one, as you start your downswing and as you're striking the golf ball, are you breaking a lot of tee pegs with your driver? Are we seeing that the tee's never left in the ground? Are you never sweeping it off? Or are you, even if you're using a castle tee, is it pinging off in all different kinds of directions? Also, have you got scratches across the roof of your driver? Have you ever found that you're prone to a little bit of a sky or even sort of a really glancy blow across the face? You don't really feel like you're getting the middle of the driver into the back of it. And in some really, really extreme circumstances, are you taking a divot with your driver? Because if any of those three things that I've just said resonate with you and think, yeah, I do a bit of that, this is where we need to change and this is where we need to go about actually doing the right thing down into impact. As I've said, we get up to the top, it's all looking great. We're thinking, right, I'm going to hit this thing. I've got driver in my hand, let's smash it. And the first thing we do is get our hands traveling towards that golf ball. So we think, right, let's get this club at that ball as quickly as we can. And what that leads to is I start to really pull on this grip and get that head coming down. That shaft is starting to steep now. I've also pretty much not done much with my lower body as I'm coming into it. So the club head then starts to get out in front of me. It's approaching the golf ball on an angle of attack that's going to be down into it, and it's also most likely going to be from out to in. You might be someone who does it a little bit more aggressively and gets a little bit from the inside, but we would see that we're getting this angle of attack that's coming down and it's going across, and something a bit like this one. If I just hit this one now, oh, and I was even nervous to do that because I was worried about skying it, but there, obviously an exaggerated shot. And the big number that we will see in a moment that's changed, or that we want to change, is that angle of attack, the carry and the path. 7.9 down, carry 167, and a club path that is 10 degrees out to win. And that's what is resulting in those three things that I've just talked about: the snap tees, the divots, the skied marks, and ultimately inconsistent drivers. all because of how I'm thinking, right, let's hit this golf ball. Let's get our hands to get down at it. We don't want to be doing that. Now, before I tell you the phrase that I want you to use, that I've been using with John and some of my other students, I want you to just picture this for me. I'm going to give you an analogy. Hopefully, we've all seen powerlifting, or we've been to the gym, or we've seen it on the Olympics. When we see that the weights are on the ground and we're going to give it a big press, see the person getting ready, they set their feet, the weight's down here on the ground, bar with the weights, they lock in with their hands, and the first thing that we tend to see, they might pull a little bit, but we see a leg, boom. Legs go up, we straighten those, so that creates some motion in which, as I'm lifting up and getting to this point where I'm really driving through the floor, I snap up into position, and as I do that, I feel that snap's key for me to get up and lift the weights up above my head. What we don't see is those weights down on the floor, getting into a great position, and then go, yeah. We'd probably lose a spine if we did that. There's nothing with the arms and then, standing up afterwards. We see a lot of stepping and then going through there. And that's the same thing that we want to be doing with our driver swings to create some power. And the phrase that I used with John was legs, then let the arms fall. Legs and then arms. And he sort of stopped and stared and said, legs and arms. So you're telling me when I get up to here, you want me to legs, then arms. And even if we just look at where I am in this position now, looks like a pretty good driver impact position, as opposed to arms and then legs. Pointless. Doesn't deliver the golf club in the manner we want, doesn't get any power that we generate in our backswing into the golf ball. Not good. What we want to try and see, like I say, is this simple phrase. We go up and think about that lead leg. Legs, then arms. And as you notice, as I'm saying legs here, just keep your eye on the golf club. I'm not moving my hands relative to the distance from my shoulder. Legs. They're still the same distance apart. But look what happens to the club. That falls as well. So that in turn actually gets it a little bit shallow, works it on plane, and gets me approaching from the right distance. I'm not thinking about how I want that club to come into the golf ball in terms of my path and my angle of attack specifically. All I'm thinking about is legs, then arms. And it looks pretty good. We see that this lead leg's straightening up. I'm driving all that power that I create, and then I let the arms fall into the golf ball. So just have a few practice swings for me of like that, where we were legs and arms. And I want you to stop. Legs, then arms. Really simple. Legs, then arms. Not throw the arms. Don't do that. It's just not a good look for us. And then even just in some slower motion ones, what we want to try and see is that we start to legs, then arms. And I got John, after a while, just having a few rehearsals and then hitting a few off and swinging through. You're not going to hit the best golf shots in the world doing this, but what it's going to do is allow you to get used to syncing this up. So as we go through, we're going to have 2 rehearsals, and on the 3rd, we're going to hit. It was legs, then arms. Legs, then arms. And now we're going to hit legs, then arms. And a pretty nice shot there. Not going to be my fastest speed in the world, but what I would hope is that the numbers that we saw a minute ago that were really exaggerated and across the golf ball are starting to change. And look at that. Like I said a minute ago, I'm not thinking about my angle of attack. I'm not thinking about my club path, but my angle of attack has gone on the up and my path has really neutralized out, and it's a pretty straight shot bar, the toe strike, because I'm trying to work and sync things a little bit differently, but it's neutralizing us out. So once you've had those swings and you're starting to get used to it, just think about that when you're out on the golf course. It's not overly simple, is it? It's not right arm needs to be here. It's just a phrase, legs, then arms. Up to the top, legs, then arms. And it's going to allow everything to sink in the right manner. And even if I just go for a sort of 70% shot here, just thinking legs, then arms, what we should see is a pretty nice golf shot there. It's not going to be my longest because I'm still working on getting that sink right. But what it is doing is starting to get everything working in the right manner for me. So even on that shot, as I've done that, I'm still on the up. The path's quite neutral, -2. And I've got a pretty good distance in terms of my carry with even just a 70%er. So once you're then confident, you can build it up to some bigger swings. And that is all I want you to try and think when we've got the driver. And we can talk about the golf swing in terms of getting everything in better positions, but a real simple thing for you, legs, then arms, that's going to increase that efficiency and start to see that we're getting better results from our driver. And that's one of my good ones. Just with my simple phrase there of legs, then arms. Don't do everything with the arms and the hands from the top. Use that power that you've created in your legs, then let the arms follow afterwards, and you'll start to see that you'll get that driver working more efficiently for you. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed that lesson. If you have, as I said earlier, do hit the subscribe button down below, totally free to do. And why not check out one of the other videos that we have here on the channel to help you improve your golf.